Hey my friends, hey, how's it going? Hey, thanks for liking and watching, and welcome to another installment of Storage Anonymous 2025. Yeah, my friends, it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day! Yep, it's Sunday, it's 6:55, my friends. And like I said before in the previous video, Storage Locker doesn't care what day it is. Nope. So I was checking the dumpster. I had a couple of things to throw away, but man, somebody filled it up. That's okay. All I have to do is just throw away some sweepings, and I'll probably throw some more trash away on Tuesday like I planned. Well, my friends, here we are. Here we are at the storage lockers, my friends. Here we are. Yep. So right now, my friends, behind me, this is pretty much everything I own. Everything I own, my friends. And then we go over here, and I have our second locker. Yeah, we had to have two lockers just for a tiny bit. So over here, my friends, I have a little bit of stuff left in this locker, which I need to make to fit in that locker. We got plenty of room. My best friend Jesse came over and helped me do some stacking, and we're gonna come here on Tuesday and finish cleaning it out. What I just need to do today is just move a few things in. So I have over here, I had like 2 barbecue boxes. So what I have over here, my friends, is some stuff I bought years ago. So I have a smoker, okay, and then I have like a flat grill, like a cast iron flat grill with a propane. That's the stuff I bought on clearance, you know. And then over here I have some more items we have to put in there. But what we're gonna do is we have to move a few items out, put the heavier items on the bottom to start a foundation and start stacking upwards, okay? Hey, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I really do. Now, my friends, when we started making these storage anonymous videos, it was all of, it was a different locker. It used to be over there. Over there. I'm not going to show it though. And so basically, long story short, I'm getting a divorce, and I don't have to deal with a lot of that stuff anymore. Now I just got to deal with my own problems, my own mess. Now, fortunately for me, I started getting rid of stuff a while back. And so what I have to focus on now, my friends, is I got a bunch of videotapes to unload. I got some action figures to unload. But unfortunately, my friends, none of this is going to happen until I can sell our home and move. Okay, now what I do plan on doing is basically, now this is a bunch of stuff. I don't really have a lot of furniture. What I do have in my home right now is a couple of dressers and some beds, you know. So I don't have a lot of furniture, so thank goodness for that. What I do have is I have a lot of books. I have some shelves. I got my arcade machines. You know, I got a lot of stuff, you know. But you see, I have a lot of airspace right here. So this is where I'm going to be stacking a lot of that stuff at. So what I have to do, my friends, is just pull this stuff from the front out so I can start laying a foundation of heavy items so we could stack up. Now, all this stuff behind me right here, my friends, and these tubs and in these wrapped up packages, this is all my gaming stuff, okay? So basically, this is my Zombicide stuff, my Warhammer stuff, my Pirates CSG collectible stuff. You know, this is all my gaming stuff. So all that stuff is here in the front. Over here, I got the arcade machines. If you watch my previous streams from a while back, this used to be behind me when I would do my real life Ernie streams. And, you know, well, in fact, speaking, and here's more cards. This is some of the Pirate CSG cards. I got some Spellfire cards. I have a lot of games, okay? I've always been a gamer my whole life, you know. I love playing board games, miniatures, video games, puzzles, you know. In fact, if you, over here in this other locker, in this blue tubs down here, hold on. In this blue tub down here, I have more board games. But those are more traditional board games, you know. Not like the specialty games like Zombicide and Warhammer and that kind of stuff is, you know. So what I have is I have some Monopolies, you know, your typical board games that you would always be playing. So what I make it a point is I always keep a couple of regular games. That way, if people want to play a board game but are too intimidated by some of these specialty games, I can just break out pardon me, I can just break out the Monopoly or Risk, or I got a couple of games in there, just easy like family fun games. I used to have a lot more games, my friend, but I used to have like, oh God. So traditional game wise, I probably had about two of these kind of crate size. And I donated a lot of stuff, okay? Now, I also got rid of some specialty games, and those I donated to Sorcery and Might, my friend Adrian, who's co-owner of that store over here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's a board game kind of cafe kind of deal thing. So I donated some games there for their board game library. So yeah, so basically for me, if I could donate it and have somebody have some use out of it, I would prefer to do that over selling things, because selling stuff is kind of a hassle. Now, if it's a collectible or like a rare comic book or a record or a DVD, I'll sell that. But if it's like a game or art supplies, something that people can use, I like to donate it, And then when I donate stuff, my friends, I don't ask for a receipt. I don't claim it on my taxes, because I feel like if you're giving to charity and you're making a donation, you should be just giving, okay? And what you're getting back is a lot of karma, okay? You're getting back a lot in your karma account, which we all can use, And then so basically, so I do have a bunch of art supplies. I have some stretcher bars, some frames. I got a lot of art supplies that I have an artist friend I have to get a hold of. I've already given her a lot of stuff already in the past. So I have some map board. I have a couple of odds and ends I think she might get some good use out of, And again, that's something that I would like to donate instead of just trying to throw away or sell, Usually if I throw something away, my friend, it's because it's broken and because you can't really get any more use out of it. I try to be thrifty, and I try, to get the best use out of everything you can, You have to in these worlds, my friend, you have to. So that's pretty dramatic there. I should go over here so I have the better lighting. But yeah, my friends, so yeah, that's what's happening with the storage situation. So I'm going to have this other storage locker, I'm going to have this emptied out by Tuesday, okay? Because Wednesday is the day that it would be due. I've already talked to the storage people here. They know this is going to be emptied out, and I had to keep the storage for a while because I had some other belongings in here that didn't belong to me that had to be taken to the proper place. Let me get my copy, my friends. But yeah. So basically, after I'm done chatting with you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get some work done, and then when I'm done, we'll do a little wrap up. But yeah, my friends, so like I said before, a lot of this stuff is emotional, it's sentimental ties, when I got rid of, I had a lot of stuff to deal with, if you saw my previous videos, and now my hands are washed of that. And, that is not how I expected to not be dealing with that storage stuff anymore, But, life deals you a curve and you go with it, But yeah, so over here I got some empty stuff. I got some odds and ends. I got this plastic crab. I used to have this hanging on my wall. It looked pretty cool. I had like a fisherman's net. For a while I had this like sea thing going on because I'm a fan of pirates in general, and I used to play this game, which I'll be getting back into. Like I got the stray hair. It's just driving me crazy. There it goes. Yeah, friends. Nope, it just popped back up. Now you guys are going to stare at that hair the whole video because I mentioned it. hey, in the comments write stray hair if you notice it, okay? But yeah, friends. Now fortunately for me, I will be able to get rid of a lot of this stuff. Now, a lot of this stuff is basically, like I said, like all my belongings. So it's a lot of like my knickknacks, some of my dishes. I just kept a minimal amount of stuff at the house to make it look like somebody lives there, because we're selling it, okay? And so basically, I don't really have a lot of stuff in the house. I got my stuff for my computer and my streaming, but all my cool like board games and physical games, they're pretty much here. So that's why I made it a point to leave everything in the front, so I can come in here and mess with it, and miss my toys. And then I have a bunch of action figures and some other stuff, odds and ends. I got books, I got records, You know, I got movies, all my DVDs are in there. So once I move out, a lot of this stuff will be dispersed around the mobile home because I plan on getting a mobile home, friends. Because unfortunately, I can't afford a house. You know, I got good credit. It's just I don't make enough by myself, and I'm already 61. So, and I'll be retiring in a few years. So my best bet is to get into a retirement home, retirement park, 55 plus park, and that's what I'm working on now. I'm gonna have to move away from my city of Santa Fe. I love the city so much, but you know, the universe is telling me it's time to move on, friends. And you know, and so that's how things are playing out, you know. That's how things are playing out. I don't have it looks like there's a lot in here, but it's not. Because some of the stuff is going to be donated, thrown away. Some of the stuff is empty boxes, you know, that kind of stuff. It's going to stack really well. I'll get that in there. It's not really a big problem, you know. I can make it fit. I'm really good at stacking stuff, which is dangerous, and that's why I end up having so much junk in the storage, you know. But that's going to save me $188 a month, my friends, by emptying that storage out, you know. So, see, that's the big thing about having a storage locker, my friends, is the financial burden on your life. So, thankfully, you know, in these tight times, I'll be able to spend that $188 on something more substantial, like groceries or bills or, you know, my mortgage, you know. And then, now, I do have some stuff I can sell, but right now, man, the market's tight, okay? Now, I watch a lot of collectors, and I belong to a lot of groups, and I keep my eye on stuff. And right now, you know, stuff, people are holding on to their money, my friends. People are holding on to their money, and it's best just to spend wisely, you know. So fortunately for me, you know, I don't spend a lot of cash because I don't really need a lot, because pretty much I go to work, I come home. You know, I don't need fancy stuff. I'm a very easily satisfied man, you know. It doesn't take a lot to make me happy. Thank God for that, because that means I get to be happy, you know. And so there's stuff in here I need to get rid of that I meant to get rid of before, and circumstances, you know. Now the thing about it is the first now normally I could have stacked this locker the first time and made everything fit, okay. But I had to swallow my pride, and I had to go ask for help because of my shoulders now. Because, you know, since I hurt my shoulder almost a year ago, I'm not the same, my friends. I mean, I still move. I'm in a lot of pain if I move the wrong way or on the really cold days. So I just have trouble lifting stuff above my head now. You know, that time my life is gone. So hopefully, this is going to be the last time I move, my friends. Because the next time I move, I'll be buying the mobile home. And so this is it. You know, this will be my last hurrah for storages. You know. You just look at it, my friends. You know, look at all these rows, man. Look at all these rows of storages. You know, that's all basically. You know, this is all people's lives. You know, and my friends, this is a big park. This is a big park. It's open till 10 p.m. It's dead quiet right now because it's Mother's Day. That's why I picked this day to come, because I already spent some time with my mom, and I'm gonna take her out to dinner later on, because you know my mom's elderly, and she goes to bed early. And then tonight, trying to get a place to dinner tonight, getting crazy, you know. So we'll make up for it. We'll do a makeup. But yeah, you got to figure inside here is a little smaller lockers, a little closet size. But yeah, my friends, this is people's lives on hold. This is all people's memories, their lives on hold. Now sometimes you'll find businesses that will they'll rent these and use it for storage, you know. So, but that's using it for work. But you know, that's the exception, not the norm, you know. Most of the time when I'm here messing with stuff, it's people like me moving stuff in and out, you know. I'm talking to you guys because I really don't want to do this, okay? Not because I'm tired, it's because there's a lot of emotion, okay? So basically when I talked about stuff, you know, that's hard to get rid of because it's emotional ties, my friend. You know, it reminds you of a memory. It reminds you of a person, a place, a souvenir. Now for me, I used to do a lot of depression buying. I get sad, I go buy stuff. And if you look at my locker, I used to be sad, you know, a lot, you know. I'm just a collector in general, though, you know. I got comic books in here, My friends, now my locker right now would make an amazing episode of the storage war things. Because, dude, I got like comic books in here. Okay, so I got 5,000 comic books in here, okay? I got 2,000 DVDs. I got 1,200 videotapes. I don't have a lot of books because I sold a lot of them, okay? Because most of my books were like how-to books, art books, manuals. And what I did is basically I went through and I only kept one or two of each subject and I got rid of the rest of them. And I sold them and got a decent amount of money for them and I paid bills with it. The great part about books is I know somebody who needed that knowledge got it because it was time for me to let it go. My friends, were like a clock, okay? Imagine the universe like a giant clock and we're like all tiny gears, okay? And our times intercede and go as the gears go, And that's how I kind of think about things, I have to put some kind of order to all this craziness in life, I see patterns and things, There's patterns, and I like puzzles, so I make everything into patterns, because that's how I see life. And so a lot of it, sometimes, we have to make a pattern to keep us sane, to give us a reason to believe, like, God, there's a reason why all this crazy stuff is happening, Now, the reason why I'm talking to you, my friends, is because this is an emotional moment for me, because this is basically a beginning of a new part of my life, and the end of a previous life that was most of my life, and it's really hard, and it's not easy, and it's getting easier to deal with, but, it's not easy, and I'm not alone. There's a lot of people that are dealing with divorce. It's not a new thing, my friends, and it's something I never imagined myself going through. And you just deal with it. So everything's all packed up, and then I'll be getting a moving van, and I'll be moving. Then I'll unpack for the last time, and then whatever doesn't fit, I'll get rid of, give away. God, man. Yeah. I told myself I wouldn't get emotional, and I'm doing pretty good now. I went and talked to a counselor for like an hour and a half, okay? Now, the cool part about it is, my friends, I work for Walmart, okay? I've mentioned that before. If you go look in my channel, and you go look back in some of my older videos, you can see some shorts where I'm at the Walmart key holders meeting, where they send one person from each store, and they had like over 5,000 Walmart employees there. Basically, the cream of the crop is what we were, my friends. We were the shooting stars. And, but yeah. God, I forgot what I was even talking. Oh, yeah. I lost my train of thought, my friends, because I'm trying to keep my mind on other things instead of the chore at hand. Because what this chore at hand means is it gets me closer to my divorce. That's just frankly what it means. It's getting me. I'm getting closer and closer now. And oh God, man, I never thought this was going to be the case. We grew apart. There was no cheating involved. Thank God for that. No infidelity. So I can walk away. Heartbroken, but I can walk away. And I imagine it's probably the same for the other person. I don't know anymore, dude. I don't know. To be honest, this doesn't even seem real. I feel like I'm in a bad Lifetime movie. I really do. I really do. So I'm also looking for some more hammer supplies. I need the things to put together my little models, So basically, I got to keep my hands busy. I got to keep my mind busy. So I'm going to take home a couple of things to work and paint on, and then I'm not just a little bit, Basically, I should have grabbed it when I was here the other day. I forgot to. I should have. I meant to. I know where it's at. It's one of the tubs I have to move anyway, so. Okay, my friends, we're knocking on 20 minutes. That's enough procrastinating. That's enough just like gabbing. Yeah. Sometimes life throws you a curve, my friend, and you roll with the punches. And, now the great thing about this, actually, the good thing that's happening in this situation, because there's no great thing about it, is I got some great friends that are helping me out. I have some friends who have been through divorce, male and female both. So I'm getting advice from both sides, which is super important. Okay, the biggest thing, my friend, is for me not to get bitter, and because it's just how life is. There's no reason to be bitterness. Because if I be bitter and hold on to it, then I ruin my second chance. You know, I'm 61, my friends. I'm a 61-year-old man. And when I was 41, I flatlined and died, okay? I have an enlarged ventricle and I have a valve that isn't closed, I work 4 days a week because if I work anymore, I pass out, I didn't think I was going to be in this part of my life, like this, But it's okay because I'm a strong person. I got a strong will, and thank God, thank the Lord, thank God that I got people watching out for me. You got to know the signs. You got to know what to look for, my friends. There's help out there if you know what to look for. Okay, you just can't. Okay, if you're always looking down, depressed, and you're not looking eye level, you're not going to see that handout for the help that's there for you, my friends. Oh yeah, Walmart counseling. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. Dude, it was so busy today at my job because of Mother's Day, and then I've been dealing with all this stuff for like 5 months now. Okay, and I'm keeping the house up. I was dealing with the realtor. I'm trying to get this other stuff. I'm handling it all because when I was married, that's what I did. I was always the one that handled it all. And at the end of the marriage, it's going to be the same way. It's just how I'm wired. It's just my role in life. I do things. I wrap things up. Speaking of wrap things up, I should wrap up this video. My friends, it's already been 22 minutes. I only have about a half hour, maybe 35 minutes worth of work. All I really have to do is just restack this pile here in front of me and move it one level higher, okay? And then I gotta move these little tubs out, and I just gotta put the barbecues and stuff back there, I can do it. I just don't have the heart. I got the will, but I don't have the heart. At least I'm not crying every day now. I'm not crying every day. I'm still sad. I'll still be sad, because, it was a big part of my life. It's okay to be sad about these kind of things. So originally, my friends, I planned on setting up the tripod in the middle of both storages, and I was going to be moving things back and forth and talking to you on the way, and pulling the camera back, and, but it just turned into like unloading the emotional baggage instead of the actual storage stuff. I'll get some work done. I'm going to get some work done tonight. I'm going to get a major chunk done tomorrow. And then my best friend will come over and help me wrap it up. Hey, friends. Hey, thanks for liking and watching. Thank you for subscribing. I've been at YouTube for 2 years now. Next month in June is starting my 3rd year. I do have channel memberships. If you'd like to become a member, that'd be great. No pressure. Leave a like and a comment, because that helps me in the algorithm, my friend. Shoots me out into the system. Maybe somebody who needs to hear this advice will hear it. Maybe somebody who needs to give me advice will put in the comments and I'll read it. There's a reason for everything, my friends. Nothing is by chance. Everything, you can call it what you want. You can call it like divine inspiration, the hand of God, the Great Spirit. But my friends, everything is just too amazing to be an accident. It's just too amazing to be a simple star blowing up and a fish crawling out of the ocean, my friends. It has to be more than that. It has to. And we make it more than that by what we do as human beings. Just have a good day, friends. have a great day. You know what? Talk at you later, folks. Talk at you later, okay? I gotta go move some boxes full of memories around. Bye, friends. Bye for now.